Alright, so what do I gotta work with here? Octung Baby? Meh. Give that to Bootsy. U2 War? That's a possibility. Might have to do that one. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I'm not gonna sit here and complain about that. Oh. Back in the day, this was the most important thing a kid could have. You'd bring it everywhere with you. The park, the beach, hanging on the corner, bike rides, even just using it in your own room to record songs off the radio. I remember waiting for Casey Kasem's American Top 40 to come on, and I'd wait patiently for my favorite songs so I could record them.
Simple Minds hold out for a second week? Let's find out.
Before the boombox, most people either had a stereo in their house with those big wooden speakers that took up half a room, or a small little radio to carry around, or you could blast songs from your car stereo, if you had a car. But the boombox made music mobile on a, some might say, too loud scale. But I was a kid at the time, so I thought it was amazing. They called it a boombox because, one, it was heavy as hell. I forgot how heavy these things are. And the other reason they called it a boombox was because of the solid bass you got out of it. Prior to the boombox, any portable radio sounded tinny. There'd be no real bass sound. The boombox was a game changer, like some kind of mobile stereo system. The first boomboxes came with 8 tracks, or even record players in them, which sounds crazy to me. Wow, they actually look pretty cool. But most boomboxes came with a cassette player. Sometimes you had 2 cassette players, which was a big deal. All you had to do was put a piece of tape over the holes in the back of your cassette. Don't tell anybody I told you. And some of the high-end boomboxes had that slow motion cassette opening. It would open like. Wish I had one of those slow opening boomboxes. Most boomboxes had an amplifier, AM/FM radio, and you would carry it around by the handle or on your shoulder, like this. Or sometimes you would strap it to your bike and ride around town blasting your tunes. The mobility was all possible thanks to the 4000D batteries you'd jam in the back. A lot of times the antenna would break off on these. They basically always broke off, but it really wasn't a big deal. All you needed to do was get either a wire coat hanger or some aluminum foil.
Climbing a fast 6 notches to number 4 is the only instrumental in our survey. From the soundtrack of the movie Beverly Hills Cop, German musician Harold Faltermeyer and Axel F.
Boomboxes were vital in the emerging hip-hop scene. You could bring your music to the street, get people to gather around, watch and listen. Without a boombox, I don't think breakdancing, hip-hop, and the rap scene would have grown like it did in the 80s. And let me just say, I'd love to go down a rabbit hole about boomboxes, culture, and the effect it had on things back then. I watched hours of docs and footage about it all because it brought back so many memories, but I want to cover the boomboxes themselves. But I'll link the videos I watched in case anyone's interested. Side note, I don't know if I'm going to count the radios with the detachable speakers. I know a lot of people consider those boomboxes, but I feel like they weren't truly boomboxes. Let's just say they weren't. Let's just go on record with they weren't. The hell is this? Ghetto Blaster movie? You know what? I don't even want to know. Alright, I need to know.
All my I'm taking it, step back, Jack, don't attack me, try to track me, I'm exactly.
This is terrible. I'll probably watch that later. And you didn't have to grow up in the city to annoy old people with your super huge boombox. I grew up in the sticks of New Jersey, and we used them too. At the beach, at the creek, lakes, in the backyard, definitely in the woods. During campouts, Led Zeppelin and Rush would echo across the lands.
Just break my radio!
There were so many different styles of boomboxes back then. Some were real high-end, some were more basic like this one. But in reality, they all did the same thing.
I'm king, and they know it.
Oh dear God, no. Turn this shit off now. It's fun to think back to those boombox days. Nowadays, we stick little speakers in our ears, so nobody can hear what we're listening to.
It's like carrying your stereo with you, you know? on your head.
Back then, you wanted the biggest boombox you can find and blast that shit all over. As a kid, it was awesome. When we would go into New York City or Philadelphia, you'd hear a boombox blasting at every corner. But eventually, the powers that be decided it was too much, and they started cracking down on having boomboxes playing outside.
You bother a lot of people with that?
Bother me? Bothers the hell out of me. I think you're invading my life space with that damn thing.
Yeah,
You are, really. Not only mine, but everybody else around here. I ask everybody here, isn't this ridiculous?
country, country.
I had it up to here, I can't take it anymore.
Life is but a dream.
And just like all good things, the boombox was silenced by cranky curmudgeons. Walkmans gave way to the loud, noisy boomboxes, which led to now. That doesn't mean you can't break out the boombox every once in a while and annoy the neighbors. Just for nostalgia's sake, the boombox I had 4 speakers. 1, 2, 3, 4. The AM/FM dial, auto stop. That's like a big deal, right? The really important record button, headphone jack, AC/DC switch, hails bells, and there's even a microphone. While I was preparing to record this, I talked to a lot of people that grew up in the 80s and 90s and asked them if they had a boombox, and every single person I talked to said that not only did they have a boombox, but it was one of the most important things that they owned. Maybe it's time to bring back the boombox. Shed those little earbud things and bring back the boombox. So let me know, did you have a boombox when you grew up? Thanks for backpedaling with me. I'm Tig, and you are...
Panasonic Platinum Box. Stereo AM, FM, cassette. Platinum is the power to get.